Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, audience discretion is advised.
Strawberries, strawberries, strawberries. Welcome to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. My name is James McCarthy.
I'm Brady Davis, and nobody's going to get that.
Yeah.
I'm Jody Kite, and just to let you know, normally you can go to Sonic and get flavorings put in your sodas.
Yeah.
Like they're slushies, right?
Yeah.
Like you get like blue coconut in your Sprite, raspberry in your Sprite. However, if you ask for strawberry, they give you strawberry, and it's not just flavoring. It's actual strawberries ground up.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? You can get, why? They have blueberry. They don't grind up blueberries and put it in your drink.
Friend of the show, Jason Holder, had chili put in a Sonic Blast once.
Oh,
So
okay then.
I
It
see
could
your
be
strawberries, and I raised chili con carne.
It could be worse.
Oh, who are you, by the way?
I'm Ethan Skinner.
All right, cool. Just want to make sure we got that out of the way.
I
Jody just
wasn't
wanted to get a
expecting the chili
rant.
slush from Sonic.
No,
Yeah.
the chili blast.
Nobody
No, the
expects-
chili blast. My apologies.
The chili Snickers blast is like one of those like off menu items that you really
I will
need
say-
Well, they
It's
do
a-
say that you can add chili to
to
anything.
anything. You can add chili to
I
anything.
could taste the Sprite. I couldn't taste the burger though, except for the ketchup. Like the burger
because
had
it had strawberries all over.
No, because the burger had no flavor to
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I recently had the Firehouse sub, the turkey dinner sub. That's like
That has stuffing on
it's
it.
turkey stuffing and like cranberry sauce. One of the most bland things I've ever eaten.
Oh, absolutely not.
Don't spend the money on it. It's like chewing paper.
I haven't been to a Firehouse Subs in almost 15 years.
This-
Wow.
they-
What
they're
bad
only
thing
like-
happened to you? I've never
Yeah.
had that's the first like really bad sandwich that I've had there. And it wasn't even bad. It was just like, man, I have to continue eating this. Like it's edible. I just
Right.
but
I already paid for it.
I paid for it and I'm hungry, so I have
Yeah.
to continue
Yeah,
eating
so
this.
I need substance.
but it's literally like eating a book. Like it's like what the fuck?
Yeah. I'll say this: they've never lived up to the hype for me, but they're still good
They
sandwiches.
are a little overhyped, but they are
I'll say
good.
that to me they're better than Subway, but I mean that's a low bar.
That's the lowest of bars.
Yeah.
So the nearest Firehouse Subs is over in Ocean Springs.
Correct.
Okay.
And they also have there's Firehouse Subs and Lenny's, and I typically default
Oh
for
yeah,
Lenny's.
Lenny's
So-
is
Well, Lenny's would also be closer for you. Like,
yeah,
like-
Lenny's is the better.
Not necessarily.
Also, if I'm in Ocean Springs, I don't know if I'm eating a sandwich because I typically just don't go over there that often,
Yeah.
so I'm eating something else.
Yeah.
I prefer McAllister's, though McAllister's long ago took the muffalata off the menu, and I was like, nope, we're done
I
for a while.
I've not been impressed.
I've
with,
seen muffaladas at some
McAllister's.
Walmarts lately in like
Yeah.
the deli area.
Yeah,
That's weird.
yeah, like the Ramey's right here in Gaucher, like also sells half muffalatas on occasion.
Welcome to Food Corner.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, the muffalata sandwich. Try it.
Food news.
You don't have to like it. If you foodie news. I really hate when they scalp the mortadella off of my muffalata sandwich. I just really
Yeah,
I don't
they
appreciate
just
that.
hoard them and
Jesus.
sell them for double the price.
Yeah, it's just super Italian salami, people. Brady, what have you been up to?
That joke was for one person
one
somewhere.
person, and
Somewhere.
we hope he remembers and loves that.
Yes.
So yeah, I finished the book that I was talking about last week. It's only like 160 pages, so a mimicking of known successes, which they actually that gets said in the book, and it makes sense in context, so it makes it make more sense. It was fine. Like I said, it felt a little, for a romance type deal, it was a little dry. Both of the characters are like, one is a scholar who is kind of bookish, and the other one is a kind of distant investigator type person who is very distant and cold and unusual, idiosyncratic.
As I remember from last week, it's basically, and I won't say basically, but it's a take on the Holmes and Watson. Kind of
Well, it just felt like it because it's told from the Watson, like the girl who is not the
scholar.
investigator. Yeah, the scholar girl. It's interesting. It was interesting. It just wasn't like great to me.
Are you gonna try and read the other books and
Probably
see?
not. Maybe one day, but if they're all like short novellas, so like maybe I'll get around to it, but I'm not gonna like seek it out. It was fine. It's very middle of the road book to me. I'm probably not gonna keep it. So I mean, if anybody's interested in reading it, sure, you can have mine. Although it was misprinted, so a whole bunch of the pages are like bent, and I had to like cut some pages, so they're all fucked up. But they're readable. It's not like it was irreadable. But yeah, it was fine. I'm just basically. I said I was going to start another book and read it in November. I don't know if I'm going to get around to do that because early December, the 5th Stormlight Archive book comes out, and I'm really, really excited about that. But we'll see how it goes. So there's that. We also started it's not really a campaign, it's just an adventure for a new RPG that I bought a while back called Dragonbane. It's in kind of the same area as D&D, but it has a lot of like differences than D&D. It's a little bit more old school, like where it's fairly deadly.
It's a lot simpler than D&D.
And it's simpler, but there's still like strategy in there with little things that you can do because they add different like attacks and stuff like that. Nobody used any of those, but I think it's just we're getting used to things. But it's pretty cool. Our adventurers are everybody at the table played, and then we had Michael Hill and Jason Holder also play. And this the name of the adventure is Into Castle Duckenstein, because in this world there are duck people. Because this was Swedish, and the Swedes really like Donald Duck, so they put a duck race in there, and they even can become angry to get better at doing things. So they fought some kind of stitched up abominations and some living dead people and a creature that is just covered in eyes. So yeah, I mean, how did everybody feel about it? Like,
I liked it. I thought it was fun. Enjoyed playing with everybody. I liked the fact that guy was called Igor.
Yeah.
And
we fought the eye monster from that one Power Rangers episode.
yeah, pretty much.
It is a very unique take on a tabletop, because it's fairly similar to D&D, but there's subtle changes that makes it vastly different.
Yeah.
Like for rolling for success or fails, it's the inverse, where you want as low as you possibly can.
I have played roll under systems before, and it's really it does take a lot of math out of the game, which makes it a lot smoother in my opinion.
I like the initiative aspect of it, where it's dealt randomly.
Yeah, you literally have cards that and everybody. There's 10 cards, and everybody gets dealt a card, and sometimes
unless you're the wolf man.
Yeah, he can choose. That's it. He just has that ability. But yeah, but you can also, on your turn, instead of taking your turn, you can do what's called wait, where you switch your card with anybody else. And it gives you a lot of like tactical abilities, ability to be very tactical in things, because monsters in this, if you're not fighting like regular like soldiers or like orcs or anything like that, monsters are way different than just regular people. Most of them can go multiple times during a turn. Most of them go 2. There are some that even go like 3. And they have like a list of attacks, and the attacks always hit. So if you like the first attack that they were fighting one of these like Frankenstein looking things, and the first attack, if Ethan wouldn't have evaded it, he would have gotten squashed.
Yeah,
I would have done all of the damage. I would have done enough damage to kill him.
Right.
Or at least put him down.
Right.
It would have put me at 0.
But even then, there's like some interesting things. Like there's death saves like in D&D, but if you make 3 of your death saves successful, then you roll D6 HP and can stand back up and fight. Somebody can come by and rally you, where you're still taking death saves, but you heal, and then you're up and fighting. You can even rally yourself, like you can give yourself a pep talk and heal, but it's a little bit harder to do that. there's a lot of little things. I like that if you're doing certain types of damage, you have access to extra things. Like if you do piercing damage, you can say like, hey, I'm going to try and find their weak spot. And that means you roll the Bane. So you roll 2 d20s and you take the highest roll. But if you're successful, you ignore their armor because most monsters have armor as well. And that just, an armor, just like if they have an armor 4, and that means if you do, 8 points of damage, they're only taking 4. Armor automatically kicks it out. And then a lot of things are like resistant to types of damage and things like that. But yeah, it's a really cool system and I like it. I've got a whole bunch more adventures, so this might be something like in the future that we try out. Maybe we try it on in an episode next year. Because I'm not running any adventures this year, but the rest of this year. But yeah,
We don't got enough time left.
yeah, for real. But yeah, I really like Dragonbane. I think it's cool, and I think it's a good thing that if you're like, man, I want to kind of do this fantasy thing, but I don't want to really do D&D. It's definitely deadlier. Like it's like everybody like accounted really well, but like you don't ever gain like hit points and stuff like that. You don't get more. Like there's no like leveling up. You level up you raise your skills, but you don't get more hit points.
Right.
There's
Yeah,
no
it's
like,
not
oh,
meant
you've got this experience, so now you roll your hit die and see what you roll. And then there's none of that.
It's not meant for you to play this for like a year-long campaign or anything like that.
They have a thing with the adventures
you could
run as a campaign. Well, they do interesting. I don't think it's like a super long campaign that you would want to play this as, but they do have interesting things of like when you journey and set up camp, and there's a process to that and things that you roll and things like that. If you don't have a blanket, it's harder for you and things like that. And so there's some cool things with that. But yeah, it's a really cool thing. I like the artwork on it. It's like really cool. And it is, and it's called they call it like one of the taglines is like mirth and mayhem role playing. So things are like kind of tongue in cheek, like you can see with the they're trying to defeat Dr. Duckenstein. So like that's got a lot of eye rolls, and that was fun.
I was allowed to introduce the Quackmire.
The Quackmire marshes.
I played a frog with I was about to say bellhops. This my brain is at work right now. I'm terribly sorry. This bagpipes.
Yeah,
bagpipes. Good God, but yeah,
and they actually help. Like
Oh yeah, if we didn't have the bard, we would have probably died.
Yes, it would have been much harder without the bard.
It got me an excuse to play Cadence to Arms during the.
But the cool thing about this, if you look in like the equipment section, like everything has a use. It's not just saying like, oh, you have this thing, like some stuff in D&D, it's a very niche use. But in this, it's like, okay, if you have a blanket, it means that when you're rolling to set up camp, or to resist the cold, then you have you don't have it's not harder for you to do that, so it's really interesting. I like this system, and it's something that I hope that we go back to a little bit at a time. But who knows? This next time I could just like murder everybody. So because like everybody's taking like a lot of conditions, so that means that
well, I think
things are a little bit harder.
You have to appreciate that walking into it. Yeah, if you don't, then
I think nobody would have liked it if I would have been like, hey,
come play this fun game, and everybody's gonna have a great time.
And then I roll and splat
I'm
Ethan.
almost dead in the first interaction.
Right. Yeah,
I love that. One little touch. I love when things are given like great names, like that cut together abomination. His attack was called Mismatched Fists.
Yeah,
which I like that because just the title of that, it's more than just zombie punch you. It's okay, so it allows you to like it's evocative. It brings out the idea
like
of what
all
this
of the
thing looks
like monster attacks are like different. Like they might be doing the same type of damage, but what explaining what the creature is actually doing is different.
Yeah, that same creature also shit out a cloud of noxious gas that made so many people vomit and very queasy.
Yeah, like there's some stuff that they didn't even see, like the Stitched Abomination or the Living Dead things do.
Thankfully.
Which are interesting. Well,
However, I am marked
there's probably
for death.
more.
Oh, I'm sure there are.
Me and Jody are marked for death in the event
Yeah,
that
they're
we
not.
die.
Yeah, they're not
Yeah,
just zombies. It's
If
living
they die,
dead thing.
if they
yeah.
die, they're gonna come back as zombies. So that's gonna be fun.
table.
So there's that, and I mean I'm continuing to fucking play Magic and get shit. I've got most of the stuff for a deck. It's Azuri Claw Progress. He's all
Yeah.
about like +1/+1 counters and
That's a nasty one.
proliferating. I'm gonna run like just the like budget deck list that I got, and then I have plenty of stuff from because I took the Mothman apart. I got to kind of have him go out on a high note and do a whole lot of cool things when we played with Jason Holder and some other friends Sunday, and that was kind of the last game we played, and he actually like that deck did all the things that I wanted to do, which is fun. But so I'm glad that deck got to go out on like a high note. But I took that apart and made this deck. I'm gonna some of the other stuff I'm gonna put in other things. I'm still thinking of other things. I've got most of that, but from that I've got stuff to like kind of upgrade that deck that I'm gonna look at.
Nice.
So I've already got that stuff, which is cool. And then I was telling Jody I have a Magnus the Red spell slinging deck, which seems most of it's coming in Saturday, so that's gonna be fun.
Nice.
I'm a Thousand Suns guy, and Magnus the Red is one of my favorite 40K models, definitely.
And characters too.
Yeah, I really like
He's
Magnus.
really well developed.
Yeah. So being
He
able
only
to-
wanted to do right by his father, and his father didn't appreciate that.
Yeah. Magnus did nothing wrong.
Yeah. No, he did a few things wrong now.
Yeah.
you know, but he had the best intentions.
Yeah. When it's something about Road to Hell,
Yeah.
Paved and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got that coming. I'm looking at like 3 or 4 times today. I like went on TCG Player and was like putting these lists in there and like, no, I don't need to buy this. No, I don't need to buy. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to those 2 things and building some other things and stuff. I even found a list for the one of the secret layers that nobody could get because bots got them all. The Black Panther. I found a cool list for him that I'm.
Don't worry, you'll be able to buy just Black Panther by himself for 7 times the cost of the secret layer.
Yeah, I'm not just
But no, I mean, you just drop that
print
money.
that shit out.
Yeah. No, dude, mimeograph it. So it's got that like alcohol smell and it's all purple and shit. Yeah, it'd be great.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing.
There we go. All right, Ethan Skinner.
I'd like to touch up on the Marvel Secret Lair debacle.
Uh-huh.
Go for it. Yeah.
So
Remember before 1 second. I got to butt in for
Go for
1
it.
second.
No,
Ethan.
go for it.
Remember when we were talking about it before?
you said this
And-
exactly last week.
And I said that nobody was going to be able to buy it because bots were going to buy it within 5 seconds. What happened?
it's not just bots. So
it's super bots.
So you go to the Secret Lair website, you fill up your cart with whatever products you want, and they'll put you in a queue to like wait to check out, so that way everyone has a chance to get product.
That's what you think.
Yeah.
There was a link going around that essentially allowed people to avoid the queue and go straight to checkout.
Wow.
So people would fill up all their carts.
Okay, I didn't know about this.
Use this link to go to skip the queue line, go straight into checkout.
Oh.
Wow.
So it's not just bots. It's
I hope they got doxxed.
Yeah.
So
Not really.
within 2 hours, all of it got sold out.
Yeah,
all
that's
of the
how it
bundles,
works.
all of the individual.
That's longer than I thought.
Legit.
it
Yeah,
was
I was
gonna
going to say
take.
legitimately. I'm surprised it took 2 hours.
Yeah. That's
It all went public at 12. I checked it at 2. It was all gone.
What was the price on the layer?
No idea.
Oh, it was gone
'Cause-
that fast. Like
You can't,
wanna say it
you
was-
can't view the price unless you're in checkout. But typically, when the individual like packs,
wait.
Like no,
So,
okay,
so
hang on.
you click on the thing and it says buy this,
okay.
and it doesn't give you a price then?
I'm explaining it bad.
Okay, okay, I hope so.
You're out on the website.
I'm on the website.
Okay, it will show you what's available,
Uh-huh.
and if it's available, it will tell you the selling price of
Okay,
it. If
okay.
it's already sold out,
It'll just say sold out.
It will just say
Okay.
sold out.
It
And
was-
by the time you're there, it was already sold
yes.
All I remember is that it was $10 more than what they normally go for.
Yeah.
Typically, how they do, like a non-foil.
I think it's 39 and 49, and
Yeah,
these were
that's typically
49 and 59.
typically yes.
These were
Yes.
49
I
and
legitimately
59, I
expected
think.
these things to be like over 100, so I'm actually shocked at the
Yeah,
price of
they
that.
were, it's
so,
it's
yeah.
like it was
They're
like
going
50
to be.
It was like $50.
Well,
for,
yeah, on the Scout. Well, the Scout
5,
brand
6
would look like
cars.
what 200, 300 maybe. To
And
have them go out that fucking fast.
if you want like the bundle, I want to say it was gonna be like near 200.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
got
If you-
all,
if you
of,
want
you got
all-
all of them.
all
I know
five of
you had
them.
to get the entire bundle to get the Avengers Tower promo. to get enough
you need
money.
to spend at least 200 in order to get the Arcane Signet
yeah,
promo.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
But-
remember somebody saying that it needed to be all 4 of them, or however many of them.
5.
Are.
But
5.
any combination, as long as the total price was 200.
Yeah, but I think
Okay.
you had to get all of them.
But even then, the Arcane Signet promo went out first,
Yeah.
followed by the Storm, Captain
yeah.
America,
Of course.
Iron Man, Wolverine, and then Black Panther.
Yeah, I was about to say Wolverine's almost dead last.
And then I was excited to get the Storm because it's a
That would be a cool
it is
one.
it is a unique card that I really wanted to mess around with, but it's gonna be damn near impossible to
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
get
yeah,
it
yeah.
at this point because
eBay.
yeah, print
Yeah,
you.
eBay,
Well, no,
yeah.
print you out a proxy.
get me a
Yeah.
proxy.
And if you like it that much, then
That's what I'm
Then
gonna.
eventually,
That's what
just-
I'm gonna do with Black Panther, and maybe in 2 years that you can find them at an affordable price.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But to
pray to God it doesn't take off though.
Well, it doesn't matter to me. Like I will play with the proxy. I don't give
Right,
a
yeah.
shit. I
No,
hold.
but someone looking for it.
Yeah.
Pray, like pray to God it doesn't take off
but
as something.
in order to drown my sorrows, I finished season 3 of Vox Machina.
Okay.
I like where I like where it's going. I never followed the live like the stream
actual
of,
playthroughs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never followed through with it. I tried when they first.
It's a
kicked off.
time sink, and if you're not already invested, I could see where it'd be
Yeah.
hard to try to get
So
in.
they knew ahead of time that this was going to be a problem. They knew.
We're going back to the
Ever
magic
since-
thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
I was having to
speak.
look up. I was having to look up what Mark Rosewater said just the other day.
Oh, did he say something?
They noticed that because like the way this stuff is set up, it's like anything else. It's a machine. Like if you're printing like Stephen King books, you're printing the next 3 books. They're all set up.
Yeah.
They're just releasing whenever. So this started becoming an eye-opening thing for them when the Monty Python debacle happened with that secret layer. Because the same thing happened. That was like the first time. Because at one point, the secret layers were on print on demand.
Yeah.
So everyone had a chance to get it. And
Yeah.
you had a window of time. You had like 2 weeks to a month. Or something like that. And then after that, and then that's when the prices would go up because the availability would be gone. And then they decided to do, this new FOMO shit so that they could try and, drum up money. Well, one of the first or second sets was the Monty Python set that started doing that, and this shit happened. And so they've been watching every secret layer drop, and like some of them were more popular than others. But they noticed that when the Monty Python set dropped, this was going to be an issue in the future. And even though they had said before that they weren't going to like quote unquote like reskin cards that were in secret layers, that were secret layer original cards and other formats, they started doing that. They've done it already. They did
Yeah.
it with the Stranger Things cards. They've done it in recent memory because of this issue. So you might not get Storm as a card in the future, but you will get all the text on the card except it'll be called something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll make a universes within version of it.
Basically. basically, which sucks because if you're a Marvel fan and you want the actual Storm card, you're fucked.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see on that because you know they have to kind of like take things as they come. So we'll see what happens.
It sucks that I missed out on it because I love the X-Men. I love everything about it. Hopefully when the Spider-Man set comes out next year, I'll actually have the opportunity to get it.
Well, you will because it's
Well,
a
if it's an
standard
actual set, then we should be able to get that shit.
Standard set, you'll be able to get it
So,
probably.
holding out for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's been me.
Yeah, holding out for Spider-Man.
That's literally.
Holding out for Spider-Man.
Is that your whole week? Just there? Just that? Thought you had other stuff. I know the Vox Machina, but it's like the magic thing. Just like did it consume
your
you?
soul.
It didn't consume me, but
Took a nibble out of you, man.
I know
I
a
was-
lot
I
of
was
people are mad because they announced like the upcoming sets and like half of them are Universes Beyond stuff. I don't know.
Well, no, I like the professor. I think he's one of, at the very least, one of the most reasonable voices in the magic community
he
as
is.
far as
Community,
Yeah.
for sure.
especially community stuff. I won't say he looked defeated, but he was definitely upset by the fact that Universes Beyond is just now like creeping into the actual the actual game. And the other sad part about it that I hated was that like he has hope for it. He was expressing concerns, and it was something along, I can't remember, like most of the comments were just completely dismissive of it.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? I mean, if you're gonna be dismissive, like bring up other than too bad, so sad. Like, god damn it.
Yeah.
Well, another thing that was said was like, I can't remember if it was him who said it or if it was somebody else, but they were talking about something, a statement that Wizards had made or whatever, like how much they're going to focus on Universes Beyond versus Magic's original IP.
Yeah.
And the fact that they had to use the term Magic original IP tells you that there's a problem with the oversaturation of the Universes Beyond stuff. But it's whatever.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I held nothing about Magic Sacred. Like, I know very little of the lore,
Right.
and don't particularly care about the lore. So like this doesn't bother me, but I can see how some people are not happy about it.
I think one of the reasons why the Lord of the Rings set was popular wasn't just for the fact that it was Lord of the Rings, which is a big deal. A couple of other things. Number two is it's base fantasy. It's Tolkien, which has inspired a lot of modern fantasy, if not like 99% of it. So it's almost Magic adjacent because it's sort of like, like Lorwyn, the Kithkins are inspired by hobbits. So you have a lot of that. So it's kind of like almost Magic adjacent as far as like the themes. Also, there were so many new cards that were printed that had not been printed before in a set, because normally a set has like X amount of reprints or whatever, and it was like 99% new cards.
Yeah.
And players want new cards all the time because and then no one really, especially people who play competitive Magic, give a fuck that the One Ring is a Lord of the Rings card. They just care that it's overpowered.
Yeah.
So, and then on the other hand, it's like Fallout, and it's like Fallout fans like it, but people that are hardcore Magic fans may gripe because it's not really, in the fantasy genre at all.
It doesn't fit the theme.
It doesn't fit the previous
that,
world
and I could
setting.
think like this is an aesthetic thing.
Yeah.
If I'm playing Magic with somebody and I see something that looks like a Pip-Boy, like not in the art, in the
name,
in like the tiling and everything like that, and it looks like a Pip-Boy, not a Magic card. I'm like, wait a minute, did we just drop into like something completely different? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, are you about to hit me with 5 pieces of Exodia? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, things have gone off the rails. And
Man, I can't wait for Yu-Gi-Oh! Universes Beyond.
Man, if they do that, man, that would be so fucking funny.
we're getting Final Fantasy, so I mean, we could get something Konami adjacent. I mean, Castlevania.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I'm holding
No,
out for
fuck it.
Avatar.
I need. If I will buy a box of Yu-Gi-Oh! Universes Beyond
Magic-
Magic the Gathering.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be so fucking
You could
funny.
What are we
actually read-
talking about now?
We
What
could,
the
you
fuck
could
is this
actually read
conversation
Yu-Gi-Oh
going
the
cards.
right person listening to
No,
this is
no. They will not. If it's going to be Universes Beyond, I need like 50 lines of text that I need a goddamn.
Oh man, and they're
Yes.
all and they're all form and they're all look like they're a magic card, but they're all like in the style of
Yes.
a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
So they would
and
basically-
they're all smaller.
Well,
that would be fucked up.
I knew that one
That would be
get you.
fucked up.
I think they would have to like basically put like the framework of a Yu-Gi-Oh card
Yeah.
within a Magic frame.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be
Oh,
so
can you
fucking
imagine
funny.
legal pots of greed in Magic the Gathering?
Jesus.
It's time to go to Jody.
So, watch the recent episode of Dan to Dan.
Uh-huh.
And
I
it
wish
was-
I'd remembered that you had said that because then I would, it's time to dan. And it's
Yeah,
like,
that would have been
my
great.
bad. My bad.
No. You didn't know I was going to do that.
There you go.
So episode 5 leads in from episode 4. Go figure. What's great about this show, besides the fact that it's just amazing, and I'm an old school anime fan, so for new stuff, it really takes something super special for me to really like it. And I know some of my friends are even more hardcore than I am. I'm pretty hardcore when it comes to anime. And I really, 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 really like Dan to Dan. And another thing that surprises me that I like it is because it's very popular. And one of the reasons why I think it's popular is because this thing happens in anime quite a lot where they hit a subgenre and they just like everybody's just like let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
In the late 90s, early 2000s, it was harem anime. After that, it was like shonen anime, and it has been shonen fighting anime for like this whole
Yeah.
time pretty much. And only recently, within like probably the past like 4 years or so, has things started evolving where you get shows like Dr. Stone.
Yeah.
And
I mean, for a while there was like isekai.
well, that's actually more of a newer thing because that's like the first one that's noted as starting that is Konosuba, and that's like 2016 or something like that. But really, as far as like a genre taking over, that's more of a recent thing. Like within the past 5 or 6 years, isekai has been like the go-to sub-genre that they like going to a lot. And it really and it feels like an oversaturation, but really all isekai is Stranger in a Strange Land. That's all it is. And it's not a new trope. It's just a trope that's being used a lot in anime. Well, Dan to Dan is not that. Dan to Dan's got like really cool Fooly Cooly vibes. Can't believe I said that. Also, what they did in this first part of this season is that once you get to episode 4, the arc ends. So episode 5, they start a new arc that it has elements from the original arc, but if you wanted to just watch the first 4 episodes of the show, it has a beginning and an end, and it closes nice. So you could just watch the first 4 episodes and be done if you don't want to watch the whole thing. I found out earlier that they're going to have 12 episodes for the first season. But it's weird because usually, like on Netflix, it'll say like episode 6 is coming out tomorrow, right? And then you would see like, episode 7, 8, and 9 would be coming out this week, and this week, but it doesn't do that on Netflix. It just shows you that tomorrow is episode 6. There is no telling you when the next. So I don't know if they're taking a break in between, to stretch the seasons out because they've done that before with shows, especially with anime. But they did what the last Stranger Things, they did first half of the last season, and then they took like 3 months and then did the other half of the last season of Stranger Things. So I don't know if they're doing that or not. And then I watched a really cool movie. It was like folk horror, made in 1971. It's called The Blood on Satan's Claw. It's made by the same people who made the Witchfinder General movie with Vincent Price. So if you like that kind of folksy horror, also a little bit more grim dark. There's like blood. There's a little bit of gore. The movie starts out with it's set in the 1700s. So the movie sets out with this guy like tilling the land and comes across like a skeletal corpse and freaks out over it, and then goes to tell the magistrate. And he's talking to the magistrate, and the magistrate's like, what are you talking about? Like, you found a body? And he's like, yes, sir, but it wasn't human. It looked like it was a fiend of some kind. And they go back to the area where he discovered the corpse or whatever, and it's gone. But before they get to it, you see a bunch of like children from various ages being around the mound area of where the remains were found. And then they're gone and the body's gone. So, you have no idea what's happening. And so
Are they children of the corn children?
it's more like children of the devil, basically.
Oh, okay.
And so there's all these like random curses that are happening in town. Nobody knows what's happening, and you as the viewer, you have no idea what's happening. And about like 1/3 through the way, you're like, oh, like one of the older girls is actually like, becoming a witch, through the power of this demon body or whatever. And they're trying to resurrect this entity basically by sacrificing other kids. It's wild. It's slow though. It's real slow.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's a movie made in the 70s.
yeah, but it's about an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not too bad.
so I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it.
I've heard of that. That's one of those when people are talking about like folk horror. That's usually one that they mention, usually in the same breath as the Witchfinder.
I had never heard of it, and it came across. I'm in a folk horror movie
I'm
group on
surprised
Facebook.
that I've heard of that and you hadn't.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
It usually does. That rarely happens with horror movies like that. to be
right, for
honest.
sure. Typically, I should have already known about. I probably have heard the title before, but not had any context for what it was. Because to me, that sounds like a terrible title
Yeah.
for a movie. That's an awful title for a movie, unless you know what the movie is.
I kind of like that it's to the point. Like, here's
Yeah.
blood on Satan's hands.
Right.
Something's going to happen.
It's very close to the point of the movie, literally.
It's available on Tubi.
It's also
How did I know?
that's where I watched it, but I could have watched it ad free on YouTube on 3 separate channels, or paid to rent it.
It is also on Pluto TV.
Yeah, on demand Pluto TV. That's
It's also available on Pluto, the non-planet.
So that was fun. I really enjoyed it. There were moments where it was kind of like slow, but they were like it was very methodical. And then every time I would like start to lose interest, something would happen that would be interesting enough to draw my attention. I'm like, okay, well this movie's got me now. So I really got like Jay's gonna know what I'm talking about, and you guys probably won't. The episode on Star Trek: not the Next Generation, but the original series, The Planet of the Kids. That's the vibe I got. Like where there's nothing but kids, because they murdered all the adults because its entity has given them power, and they get to play forever and be young forever, and that's kind of like the vibe I got from it, except a little bit more gory. But yeah, so there was that, and I bought and downloaded and have been playing Balatro since Sunday.
It was only a matter of time.
Yeah. I beat most of everything on the base game of Vampire Survivors, and I'm taking a break from that. I haven't gotten the Castlevania DLC or anything like that because I just don't want to lose interest in that game because I really enjoy that game a lot. And so yeah, I've been playing it. I've only been playing on like the second deck. I've unlocked several other ones, but I've beaten the red deck, and now I'm trying to beat the green deck. In fact, I got 1 turn away from beating the green deck, and I pushed the wrong button, and I lost the game.
I wonder if there's an option in the options to be able to like, are you sure you want to discard?
Yeah.
Because especially for newer players, I think that would be a big help.
It would be. But
Because sometimes you get in this, it's like I didn't get the cards I need yet, and discard another. Oh wait, those are the cards. Oh no,
dude, so
that's the hardest way to lose a run.
I was telling Jay, like, my current run right now that I've got, like, on my PlayStation at home, I have the Blueprint Joker. I have I got 2 copies of the same Joker that gives me like plus 12 mult if it's a straight. I have what's the other one? I can't remember the other one I have, but they're all like lined up. Oh, I have the Joker that gives me plus mult for every tarot card I've opened, and I currently have opened 18.
That's Fortune Teller, because there's Fortune. A great combo in game is Fortune Teller and Tarotmancer. Because Tarotmancer at the start of a blind, you create a tarot card. And it just goes into your holding.
And then like I've acquired 2 blue chips on 2 cards.
That's good.
So I can discard those and get tarot cards. also. So
No, that's purple. Purple chips
Purple,
get
yeah,
you
yeah.
tarot.
That's-
Purple
yeah.
chips, discard.
Yeah, blue chips. If you the hand you win the round on, if you have a blue chip in your your hand,
hand,
still,
you make a
it'll
planet card.
give you a planet card.
right,
of that
right,
type.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying the hell out of it. Balatro is great. So like I said, like I bought it Sunday afternoon at like 1:00. And at 1:00 in the morning, I had to go to bed because I had to work the next morning.
Yeah.
And
And he had 10 hours of playtime.
and so the next day, I was like, okay, I played like 3 or 4 runs of Balatro and I'd watch something for a little bit. And then I'd play Balatro. And what would happen is that I would play and I'd be like, all right, one more game. And that happens to turn into like 4 or 5 more games, basically.
Oh, it's so easy. That's an easy spiral. That's an easy spiral. For me, right now, I am doing my gold stake runs. I've got gold stakes in the red and blue deck. Yellow deck is going to be the next one. Yellow is, I won't say an easy start, but it's an easier start because you start out with 10 extra money. So if you do that small blind and get out of that, you're going to get $2 interest on that one. Just
Right.
It's easier to build up your money early, especially if you find an econ joker
Right.
early on. To me, it's like early on, it's econ and either a chip or malt joker. And if you can get those, you can get through those first couple of antes,
Right.
and then you need to start looking for bigger malts, and you need to look for time malts.
Time malts, yeah.
which are
Good time malts are hard to find in that game.
you
That-
gotta
with no
and,
downside.
and the further you go up the stake ladder, you really gotta start taking chicken shit and making chicken salad out of it. Like
Right.
This is the right now I'm on yellow deck blue stake, which is all of the minuses that you have for all the previous stakes, and then -1 discard. So you have one less discard for your entirety of your run. So you have to be kind of like, you sometimes have to take hope that you can put together stuff with fewer cards because you can't really cycle out of your deck,
Right.
especially early going. I got lucky in that the first blind I was able to skip because it was a double your money skip, and I was immediately at 28 money going into the big blind on the first ante, so that when
Right.
I was already kind of flush with cash,
Right.
and so that went pretty well. And then I think I caught ramen. Ramen is an interesting malt because it's ×2 malt, but you lose 0.01 malt every time you discard a card. Not when you use a discard. If you discard 5 cards, that's 0.05 malt. That just goes right out the window.
Right.
But a ×2 malt, particularly early, and particularly in an area where you have fewer discards, so you have to make more with the hands you've got, I think it helps you out a lot easier on those early runs, especially antes 1 through 3.
I like the unlock some of the vouchers, like half off on the packs and cards in the shop.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Clearance sale and like clearance riot or something, because it's
Yeah.
25 and then 50%, which
Right.
is huge. My favorite is blank, because if you don't know what blank leads to, you're just like, oh, whatever this. Keep buying. If you're just starting out in Balatro, keep buying that.
Right.
Eventually, you're going to unlock the voucher for antimatter, and that gives you an extra Joker slot.
Right.
That's going to be kind of big. The one deck that I am not looking forward to trying to gold stake is the black deck, because it's +1 Joker slot, -1 hand.
Oh.
So that's less options to build,
right.
and also less money because you have less hands that you're saving
Right.
going out through it. That one I'm not looking forward to. The other one I'm not looking forward to is erratic deck. You probably haven't gotten that deck yet. The erratic deck is 52 cards, and it's all of it could be different. You could have like 25 hearts. You could have no clubs. You could have eight kings. You don't know what's going to be in an erratic.
Is it random every round?
It's
Every run?
Every run that the erratic deck starts
Nice.
different.
Nice.
So that one's always got plasma. I finally was able to beat one of the reasons that I'm going to gold stake runs is I was finally able to figure out plasma. Plasma balances your chips with your malt, and basically it brings them to an average, and that's the thing on both sides, and that's what you end up getting. So you need to focus on not just developing malt later on, but you also have to have those big chip gatherers that will allow you to like keep that from like going too far, and be able to kind of like hit at a middle that you can really like sink your teeth into.
I got super lucky in an early run where I was able to I play in the green deck. If you like, the more hands that you save and discards you save, the more money you get. Instead of interest, you get that. And I was able to get I bought a Arcana pack, and I got the whichever the mega one, I think, where you get two tarot cards.
Yeah, you get 5 choices and 2 of them you get to keep.
I got a hermit and a fool.
Yeah, there you go.
With maybe $15, so I went to like $45 or whatever it was.
No, because the first one would give you 15, and the next one would give you 20. So you'd be at $50.
Right. So
what I do, one of my favorite things is the anaglyph deck. At the end of every boss, after every boss blind you beat, you get a double tag, so that when you take the tags for skipping a blind, those double tags turn into that tag. And so I'll build up like 3 or 4 of those, and around like ante 5 or 6, I'm hoping for when the negative tag comes up for negative jokers, you then just like do that, and like you have 5 to 6 negative tags,
right?
And then all these jokers are coming out free, and they go straight into your joker pool,
right?
Because they just go in there,
right?
And they don't take up space for your regular jokers.
Right.
And if you hit a really good joker negative, I've gotten a negative blueprint before. That was one of my runs that I was able to get to like exponent 17. Like that was a really good run there. But
yeah. It's a great game.
But yeah, absolutely. It's so much like you can look to beat stakes. You can look to beat challenges that they have. You can look to beat like your high scores once you start out, which is pretty great. The one that I don't think I'm going to try, although I'm still tempted because it is Balatro, is completionist like double plus, which is that achievement is gold stickering all of your jokers, which means that you had the gold sticker beating a gold stake run. Because some of those, to me, in my brain, they just don't work.
Right.
They just don't work for a late game. So especially a late game where you have fewer discards and you're trying to make antes that are like approaching 1 million or more.
And the boss blinds are like, oh man, the worst one for me early on, like say like round 3 or 4, is when you get to the boss blind and it's like, hey, you can't play any cards that you played in the previous round. Or
if I see that ante come up, I will typically skip small and big if I can.
Right.
But and even if I really can't, I will still like, well, no, I need all these cards, so skip, and then just go into it, because most of the time, like, you've discarded to your best cards and you've played them, and then now you can't play them for that one. That one's bad. I love face cards, so when the plant comes out, which debuffs all your face cards,
that one's rough too.
It doesn't just debuff the ones you play; it debuffs the ones that stay in your hand. So if you're doing a strategy like Baron Mime, where you're putting steel on a bunch of kings, so they give you 1.5, and then the Baron gives you 1.5 for being a king, and then Mime re-triggers both of those. That immediately blows that up because now those are all debuffed.
Right.
I think it's like Rewind. Rewind is the base voucher, and then there's a second called, I can't remember the name of it, but Rewind allows you to spend $10 to re-roll the boss blind for that, which I think, especially if you really want to go for a high score run, there are certain boss blinds that will kill that because of what they end up killing. Yeah. So being able to roll out of that, I think is important. But then when you get that other one where it's just like you can keep re-rolling it, because the Rewind just gives you one shot. Right. This one, if you've got the money, you can keep spending 10 until you get a boss blind that works for you and just go on with that. Right. And I'll also say this, every 8 antes, because I've gotten to ante 16, which is insane. Yeah. Those numbers get crazy. My best score was exponent 22, but I stopped at the small blind on 16. But every 8 you get the super boss blinds. Right. So you have to do those all over again. Ox is also very annoying. Ox is if you play your most popular hand in the round, your money is set to 0. Yeah. And late game, fuck that. Early game, I need those $5. Yeah. I need that extra bonus money.
Right. I want to buy another buffoon pack. Which one thing I did want to ask you before we get off the topic of Balatro. Usually you see those early, but like later on they're almost non-existent. Like the pack itself.
I think it's rigged that way. And rigged is a bad. I think it's programmed that way. The game wants you to get jokers immediately. I have never seen a first ante where one of those 2 packs was not just a straight up
buffoon pack. Yeah.
Once you've gotten to like around ante 4, you no longer need to kind of like throw random money to try to get 1 to 2, 1 to 4, 2 out of 4 jokers, because you already kind of have a joker suite that's already set up.
I'll always open one.
Yeah. So no. That's for me. That's unless unless my shit
Setup
is set,
is like good.
yeah,
right.
unless my shit is absolutely set. Like
Right.
I lucked out one time and I had gotten driver's license and blueprint, and by ante 4 I had already had 16 enhanced cards in my hand, and so I already had that times 3. So I had my times 3 and then another times 3.
Right.
Another great combo. Finally, just we'll end our Balatro. We're ending Balatro corner on this one. If you can get DNA,
I was planning on making that joke.
okay, there we go. My bad, man. I'm sorry. There we go. DNA, brainstorm, and a hologram. DNA, if the first card you play in a round is just one card, it makes a copy of that card and immediately draws it to your hand. Brainstorm copies the leftmost card in your leftmost joker in your joker joker line. Hologram gives you, it starts at ×1 molt and adds another 0.25 times molt for every card you add to your deck. And so, like with DNA, you're now getting 2, so you're adding half a multiplier every time that happens.
Right.
If you luck out and you also get blueprint in that, you're go for a high score run. Just
Right.
stop right there and go for a high score run. You're gonna have fun on that one. And that includes Balatro Corner. Jay, do we have any feedback? No, Jay, we don't have any feedback. However, passengers, thank you for joining us on the bus this week, day, hour, or month, however it is you listen to us. If you would like to leave feedback on this or any of our past, or hell, even our future episodes, if you're a time traveler, travelers on the omnibus at gmail.com. Again, that is travelers, 1L on the omnibus at gmail.com. Jody, how else may they engage with us?
Spotify.
Yes, leave comments on any of our past videos and also take part in any polls that may be active. And again, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always thank you for joining us on the bus. If you have enjoyed everything you've heard, or even if you haven't enjoyed it, say, hey, these idiots, check these guys out. And you're saying that to people who don't listen to things on the things you listen to. We're available on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube Music on our channel, Travelers on the Omnibus. Anything else, guys?
No.
Main topic.
Main topic. Ladies and gentlemen, our main topic tonight is maybe the first in a series about basically spotlighting some of our favorite game companies, whether it be video games, board games, alike. We're going to start with a board game company for our inaugural attempt at this, and we're going to be talking about Restoration Games. Restoration Games, their motto is every game deserves another turn. They take games from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they update them to modern standards with modern sensibilities, both in game design and in presentation. Founded by Justin Jacobson, with the chief design officer being Rob Davio. If you've heard that name before in the board game space, Rob Davio is effectively the creator of the legacy format for board gaming, where you take a board game and over a number of plays that board will adapt. Permanent fixtures will be added to the game. Things will be removed permanently from the game. Risk Legacy was the first in this kind of deal. The biggest one, as far as like getting it right, was Pandemic Legacy. Seasons 1 and 0. Season 2 is okay. I think it kind of went a little bit off that, but I think seasons 1 and 0 are very, very strong games. You have a bunch of other legacy games. Betrayal has a legacy version. Rob Davio's first attempt at a fresh game with a legacy version was Seafall. And while I think it was a noble attempt, I think it falls a little short of stuff. But he is one of, I think it's him, Eric Lang, Uwe Rosenberg, and I want to say maybe Stefan Feld are like my Mount Rushmore right now as far as board game designers go. So when you know that the creative head in this company is one of those, I think that goes a long way. So Restoration Games, again, we take games that have either gone well past their prime, and they'll take the game mechanics of it, and they'll work them up into a new modern format, give it a new kind of coat to it, and kind of push from there. I want to start with the one that got me interested in Restoration Games, which was Fireball Island. Fireball Island is a kids game, although the way it plays now, it's still a kids game, but I feel adults have a lot more of a grasp of really kind of having fun with it. But you play explorers going onto Fireball Island, where the spirit Volcar, which is a giant black, basically magma shooting monster in the middle of the thing, goes around and shoots fireballs at you while you're trying to collect snapshots of the island, because that's part of getting points, but also you want to secure tokens along the board. You also sometimes, depending on your expansion, you have to avoid bees and snakes, which are themselves marbles, and it's very good. Get back to the time, because once Volcar like explodes enough times, that's it, folks. You need to get off that goddamn island.
Mm-hmm.
I love that game. I never got a chance to play it in I think it came out in the 90s.
Late 80s, early 90s.
Early
yeah.
90s.
I think
Yeah,
it was
that
a
was one that as a kid I saw on commercials. And I was like, oh my God, I want this so bad. And we just never could, and I just never got it.
I think it was during the time when they started doing those like really bigger gimmicky games like that.
Oh,
and they
yeah.
were like 2 to 3 times more than a regular board game, because games like Sorry, Monopoly, all those games were like standard 15, 20
Yeah.
bucks. Fireball Island was like $40 or $50, I think, when it came out.
because you had that. There was Battle Masters, which was Milton Bradley bringing over. Battle Masters was a game from Games Workshop, and it's that it's Empire versus Orcs. You can kind of tell the genetics of it if you kind of look at it.
Right.
Battle mat, because it had this giant mat that you had to put on the floor, because it was like almost like 2 feet by 4 feet, and had hex movement and cannons, and the ogre on the orc side. You instead of having he's going to move and then he's going to attack, you had a 6-card deck, and you had to like flip over the cards, and that's he either moved or he attacked. And he did. Okay, so he has no one to attack. Okay, he can move now. So you could have him blow all of his attacks immediately, and then move up, and then just not be able to do anything. Funny times. We're getting far afield.
I love the chaos of Fireball Island.
Yeah.
Like getting to play the new version of that game was a wonderful experience, because you're pretty much like initiated into, you're going to get fucked in this game.
Yeah.
It's going to happen, because when those fireballs start launching out, anything can happen.
Yeah, you have no idea where they're going to go. You can kind of like control it a little bit, but still, when you drop one in, you can fuck yourself up. Like you just don't know.
I have. Yeah.
And there's also little marble spots. Like, they don't just come out of Volcar. There's also marbles. And if the marble connects those, and those are going to go off all over the place. It is one of the few games, I will say, that it's take that mechanics.
Right.
But it's done in a way that's fun. And it's like, if you take it, if you take it too seriously, stop.
Right.
It's one of those games where but if you want to, like, you can actually celebrate a victory in that if you want to, because there's a modicum of strategy, modicum of luck, a modicum of take back. It's just a nice little balance of everything. And I like the whole thing that it's just like this safari to this island, and then you find out, oh wait, the island is trying to kill us.
It definitely made me feel like a kid again playing a board game. It definitely did.
Yeah, there's a big toy factor with that one, and definitely if you play it, like, say at a convention or something, like, people are going to stop and like look at this, because it has such a table
It's
presence.
massive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that gets to one of my points for them. Their production values are fantastic across the board.
Like a lot of the stuff that I see with Fireball
Fireball
Island.
There you go.
And,
There you go.
Another game that we're going to talk about.
Have you been
later.
drinking Fireball? Is that the reason why you have that problem?
No.
What a game to drink Fireball to, like taking shots whenever this happens.
God.
Like it looks super fun. Like Jay was saying, like everything that the thought that they took, the time that they took in order to make everything, it looks really good.
Yeah, I think something about Restoration Games, like, their production value is good on all of their games, and for the most part, like, they're not like super expensive. The ones that are super expensive are super expensive for a fucking reason. But
As we'll get to later.
yeah, but like, even some of the other games that we played that they put out, like, it's still good quality, be it art or just the quality of the pieces, and everything looks good when you put it on the table. Yeah. They also do a really good job of the main thing that they do a really good job of, though, is like updating these games. Like, none of these games that I have played from Restoration Games, you would be able to tell me, like, oh, this is, some of them are over 20 years old, some of them are 40, 50 years old. So like, you wouldn't be able to tell me like, oh, this is a game that was actually from that time.
Right.
I'd be like, no, this was made this is a modern game. Like,
Right.
they all
This came out like 3 years ago. What
this
do you
all
mean?
feels like all feel like modern games.
Yeah.
All the ones that I've played.
I want to give a shout out to Jason Taylor, who is basically their art and graphic design guy. Like that, it starts there, and he just does they have done a phenomenal job with like just the imagery of all these games. Like we've talked about Fireball Island. Brady, if you, I would like for you to talk about Unmatched, if you would please, sir.
So yeah, this was a game that was based off of Star Wars Jedi Power Battles. Is that what it was?
And also Tannhauser. The movement rules come from Tannhauser,
and they took parts of another game called Tannhauser, which was basically you were playing a first-person shooter. But in this game, usually it's one-on-one. I think that's when it's best played, but it's also can be, teams or, up to four people. They've now, with more expansions, they have released different ways for you to play. Like it's a 4-player free-for-all and things like that. Yeah. So, but everybody has a fighter, and they have a deck of cards. And they're drawing, and those deck of cards give them, they can do, they can play some things, let them do a special thing. Some of them you play them when you attack somebody and you put it face down, and then they have to defend with a card from their hand. But yeah, it's a really cool system. It's one of my favorite, like 2-player duel type games. And because it's so like the artwork is so phenomenal and varied, yeah, and every character feels different and it makes sense, and they could be, they start out doing these just like public domain characters, like Sinbad and Alice from Alice in Wonderland, and then
then you have like freaking Houdini.
Yeah, later on it's Houdini, or in that same box there's a genie that you get to fight, and then Bloody Mary. But they've also like put in Bruce Lee as a character.
Muhammad
Ali we found out is coming soon.
Muhammad Ali versus Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
2025. Can't wait.
Yeah.
And then all the Marvel affiliations.
Yeah, they had like 4 Marvel boxes. Five Marvel.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I initially wasn't in on Unmatched because I'm not a big fan of one-on-one fighting. Even so much. I don't really particularly like chess, in that regard. But what got me into it was Tales to Amaze, which was their first cooperative game, which I think really good. But then when the Marvel, what I loved about the Marvel stuff is, I think, like what you said, you have each pack comes with 3 different heroes. Each of those heroes feels unique and different, and it's a different play style, and the boards are also different, and the way they design it, like it's so smartly designed. And yeah, I really love what they put out with that.
I think my favorite one that I've personally played was the Moon Knight deck, where you alternate between Moon Knight, Mr. Knight, and
Khonshu.
Yeah. And each person does Moon Knight, you get +2 attack. Mr. Knight, you get +2 defense. I can never remember the god's name, but
Khonshu.
Khonshu.
We literally just said it.
He balances attack and defense, and so and each card in your deck has specific things that happen depending on who you are at that time, and so it's very unique and very different. I like
yeah, and it's varied. It's so varied because like because they have a lot of these like properties, like they have the Marvel stuff, they have some Jurassic Park sets, they have
the Ninja Turtles.
The Ninja Turtles is coming out.
Can't wait.
Coming out as a in the cooperative version of it, but they can still be used in the one-on-one game.
And one of the add-ons was quote unquote hero decks for Shredder and Krang, which will allow you to play Shredder and Krang with all against everything else,
which is really, really cool. They also have like 2 Witcher sets coming out.
I saw that.
I love the model of Geralt in the wooden bathtub, just soaking himself. I think that's fantastic. I want to just real quick theme. The Restoration Games is very good at putting theme into mechanics and just making it work. Like,
Yeah.
again, when we talk about every hero in that game or every person in that game has their own kind of like way and play style, it's thematic to
Every
them.
single one has a thing that they do that's like, okay, this makes sense for, if you're playing with Spider-Man, it makes sense, all the stuff that you're doing as Spider-Man. If you're playing as William Shakespeare, it makes sense why all of your stuff is working. Like, you're literally building iambic pentameter with in the Shakespeare deck. Which is
the age-old battle of William Shakespeare and Ghost Rider.
yeah. Mhm.
Everyone loves.
You can have that
in
fight.
Hell's Kitchen.
You can
It is
have that
amazing.
fight. But yeah, it's a really, really cool game. I have way too fucking much of it, but it's really, really cool, and I love breaking it out and just having so many options of people, and the way, and it's a very simple game. You do 2 actions. You can either move, which makes you draw a card, or you can attack, or you can play a special card that's like an event card called a scheme, and if you hit in melee, you have to have your little circle has to connect with the person that you're next to. If you're hitting in range, it has to be in the same zone, which means that the color of your circle needs to match the color of their circle, and if you can do that, then you can hit them if your guy is ranged. It's just a really cool simple system that is very easy to grasp. Yeah, that they've obviously done a lot with, because no 2 character that I have ever played feels the same. They all feel different, and they all make sense thematically why they play like they do. Yeah. So yeah, it's a really, really cool game. It's probably my favorite game of theirs that has come out so far.
Quick question then. It hasn't been made yet. What would you like to see as an unmatched character? Because I know I'm opening up the whole, literally the whole of the world, both historical and fictional.
Yeah,
But
that's
King Tut.
That's what's really
you want King Tut. We got to vote for King Tut over here.
That's really difficult, because like it always surprises me when they come out with a set. Like, one of them had Bloody Mary, Achilles, Sun Wukong, and
That was Legends 2, I think.
yeah, it was a Hindu deity, but not one of the super, super well-known ones. I can't remember. But some Hindu deity. Like, that's all over the
Right.
place. Like, I have no idea how to, because they've taken stuff from folklore, taken stuff from mythology.
And then an actual history.
Yeah. Doing some more mythology stuff would probably be cool. Like, from some, like, doing a set that's like 4 characters from 4 different pantheons, like something from Egyptian mythology, something from Greek mythology,
Celtic,
something
yeah.
Celtic mythology,
Yeah.
and then something from like Norse mythology.
For
That would
me,
be cool.
I need Abraham Lincoln.
That would be very cool.
I need him to wrestle
Mm-hmm.
The Lachlan
Luke
Frog.
Cage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it would be no. The Loveland Frog is not a okay. So real quick, the first Tales to Amaze was everybody is against the Mothman or aliens from Mars, little green men, and then you have like backup guys, and one of them is the Loveland Frog. That was actually what put me over the top. There's a frog in it, of course. The Loveland Frog does not have a model. He's just a little chip. He's just a little. He's a little helper guy, but it's okay. We will deal with this. We will go on. But
Yeah,
yes,
that's what's really cool is like all of your characters are really nice miniatures that have a
Like good quality,
that have
like miniatures.
that have a black wash over them, so they're shaded really nice. And then if they have a sidekick, it's just a little chip with a cool little artwork on it.
I need a They Live with, like, you have Roddy Piper, Keith David, fucking the aliens.
I was
Actually,
about to say that's
be pretty
the
good.
2 characters in that
Yeah.
Pretty
in
much.
that movie.
Now I'm just thinking about a WWE.
no, and John
match.
Carpenter. John Carpenter's a
just John
model. Yeah, just
Carpenter,
John
yeah.
Carpenter.
John Carpenter, The Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything from that.
I'm actually, and this has nothing to do with the rest, I am totally burned out on Thing board games.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
They have come out with way too many of
there
them.
were, I think, 3 or 4, because there was Thing, Infection, and Outpost 34. Who Goes There, and then
Right.
Who Goes There almost immediately got a second edition, which is that is a bit of a red flag to me. I played the original game,
Yeah.
was not a fan,
Yeah.
was not impressed.
Same.
And then there was an actual The Thing, which was yet another board game, and all of them kind of hover around the idea of who can we trust.
Right.
again, I love the Battlestar Galactica is my favorite game of all time. When it's the same setting 3 times in a row with the same,
Yeah.
that is it's not the same with similar types of ideas going on.
right.
I kind of.
But they all boil down to kind of the same thing, and even like the games that came before that, where you're basically doing that same, you're basically playing the thing, but it's in another, like it's Battlestar Galactica and you know,
Dark Moon.
Dark Moon.
Yeah.
Dark Moon is like you're the thing, except it's in outer space instead of in Antarctica. But it kind of all boils down to the same. You're all doing the same thing. So if you get a game where you're all, maybe some of the little things are different, but like the same basic thing that you're doing is always the same. It's, oh, who can we trust? And we have to go here, and something's messing up these things, and we have to fix these things, and we have to eventually get to something.
A cool set would be. Sorry to cut you off, Brady.
No, it's okay.
Would be McCready from The Thing. Snake Plissken.
Oh, John Carpenter.
Oh, so no. Specifically,
Or
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
No. Wait, hold on. So we got McCready. We've got Snake Plissken. We got Jack Burton.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then of course Elvis.
Yeah. From.
Oh my God! Somebody get an email. I need it out to Rob Davio right now.
3,000 miles from Graceland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, the Elvis TV special.
Oh,
but
that too.
Yeah.
Oh,
But he
yeah.
was also at 3,000 miles from Graceland.
Oh my God, he's done Elvis twice.
Yes, he has
Holy
done Elvis
shit.
twice.
There we go.
But yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be cool. It sucks that it could be a 3-player and just have the McCready, Snake, and
Elvis.
and Jack.
I will buy the add-on for Elvis. God damn it.
Well, I'm just saying because those are 3
Big characters.
Those
Wait.
are 3 Carpenter movies.
Yeah,
So like that,
also true.
It fits with that.
Wait. So Kurt Russell, Austin Butler. Who are other people who've played Elvis that are Bubba Hotep. Bubba Hotep Elvis.
Jacob Elordi, he was just in that
Jacob
Priscilla
Elordi
movie.
and Bruce Campbell.
Bruce
from,
Campbell.
Yeah. Oh
Bruce
my
Campbell.
God.
Yeah.
Give us our Elvis set. Davio.
Also, Ash from Evil Dead also would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be cool. Yeah, they've done a lot of like cool stuff, and they're really like they don't. I think that they do a decent job of balancing the here's from a property and here's just shit that we made up, or like a historical figure or something like that. Like it's really cool. Like, okay, if I could play fucking Hamlet, I can fight Hamlet against Bruce Lee.
Is
Or
Sherlock Holmes?
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah,
is
Sherlock
one.
Holmes.
Yeah,
That was from
They had
Cobble and
a
Fog.
set Cobble and Fog where it was Dracula, Invisible Man, Jekyll and Hyde, and Sherlock Holmes and Watson.
Nice.
He's actually a pretty powerful character.
That one's out of print, isn't it?
It's going to be they're doing a thing where some of the things are going to where they're not going to be reprinted. They're like cycling stuff. Like I think the Legends Volume 1, the very first set that came out, I think that's always going to be in print. But like the Bigfoot versus Robin Hood is going to be out of print, and whatever one came after that, when there was another 2-player.
Buy them
thing.
now, folks.
Yep.
Well, I think they've already started like that cycling.
Like
I know they're not making the Marvel ones anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Jurassic Park ones.
The
also
Jurassic
are out
Park
of-
ones.
yeah.
How-
Licensing.
How far fetched would it be if they start going into like DC superheroes?
I mean, they've done it with Marvel.
If
so
they've
like,
done it before, they can, like if something like HeroClix can exist where DC and Marvel people can fight one another because they have the licenses for both.
We're living in
Yeah.
a time where like different game companies making different kinds of games can still have the same license, which is crazy.
I mean,
to
literally,
me.
they just did. CMON just did Marvel United, and now they're doing DC United. So like,
And Magic has Marvel coming up.
Well,
you know.
and also they did Marvel Zombies and Deceased both for zombie side. So,
so they might. So yeah, that's definitely we could see some DC sets. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with the Marvel sets of not doing like, okay, we're just doing like the well-known
Yeah.
players. Like they
you got
literally,
Squirrel Girl.
literally like in the last set that they did, that's when they were like, okay, here's Spider-Man. Like
Yeah.
before then, like none of the other ones were like
But
the top guys.
when they did Spider-Man, they also did Doctor Strange
Yeah.
in the same, and She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
And
Yeah.
She-Hulk. That was
Yeah.
that was I think that was Brains and Brawn.
Yeah,
Which I
it
think
was,
that
yeah.
was that was that's as far as like And also play style. I like that one the best. I like Spider-Man's spider sensibility. You have to tell him what the printed number on your card is before you do anything. I think that's pretty cool.
And each one of these little box sets are like standalone versions of the game, right?
Yeah, every set
That's
that you
another
get,
thing.
there was two. There was Bruce Lee and Deadpool, where this is just the character and their deck and their model. Every other set that you buy, you could just play it, whether be it a 2-player, be it a 2-character, 3-character, or 4-character. It's going to come with a map. It's going to come with all the stuff that you need, and that's all you need. If you just want to play with, like I said, Doctor Strange, She-Hulk, and Spider-Man, you can get that, and that's all you ever need. But if you get more of it, then it's just, okay, now I have more maps and I have more characters to play.
I really
as.
like the way they did that.
All the boards are double-sided, right?
They started being double-sided, and then they changed it to where they're double-sided, but it's more of instead of having the opaque circles, it's just kind of the lines of the circle are the colors, so you can see more of the map, but it also, to me, it makes it harder to read the actual zones. So I never play on that side of it. I prefer to have it to where you just can't see some of the pretty map, which is fine with me. Yeah.
There you go. All righty. Brady, I would like to go back to you because there's another game from Restoration that you own that I've only gotten a chance to play once, but I do like the idea of it. I like racing games. I like implementations of racing games that are unique. And I would like for you to also lead us off on Downforce.
Yeah, Downforce is great. It's probably of the racing games that I played, it's definitely up there, probably number one, especially with the maps that came out later. But yeah, it's cool because there's different aspects of the game, because you're playing cards, and the cards have each of the have some number of the race cars, and you're moving each of the race cars, so you're never fully in control of the race cars that you basically bid on them, but you basically purchase them in the beginning, and you can purchase more than one depending on the number of players. But when you play a card, you're going to go from top to bottom. If the top is the yellow and you move the yellow 7 spaces, you're going to have to move the yellow 7 spaces. But you can make it to where these other cars stop ahead of that one. If it can't go forward, it just stops. So you can block people off. So that's really cool. And then there's also, when a car goes past certain spots on the board, you bid. So you place a bet. So you're like, okay, I think this is gonna win, and you can win money on that. So you don't necessarily even have to. Your cars necessarily don't even have to win the race if you do really good on the betting part. Every driver has a special ability. All of the maps are really cool. They've had 3 boards come out, with the base set, and then 2 others. The 2 others all have some kind of gimmick with them. The newer one that came out is really cool because it introduces one side introduces ramps, which is really cool, because it's a way to jump spaces a lot in certain spaces, but you can also screw yourself over. And the other side is you're going through Africa, so there are animals that stay in a spot that you could use to block people off until somebody gets past a certain spot, and then that animal moves to the next spot of theirs. So you can really block people off a whole lot easier in that one. But yeah, it's a really simple game. A lot of times where I've played it, we'll play, and it plays super, super quick. This does not overstay. It's 45 minutes, maybe. It's usually less than an hour.
The one time I played with y'all, I that was my first time, and I think it was a bunch of our first time playing.
Yeah.
And I think it was, if it got to 30 minutes, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, I played this at the full 6 players. It still plays very, very quickly. And there's been several times where I played this game and it's over, and everybody's like, hey, can we just like flip the map over and play the other track? And I was like, yeah, sure. And flipped it over and played it. It's a really, really great game. Like I said, I think it's probably my favorite racing game. But there's a little bit more to it than just I'm trying to go fast. There's a lot of strategy there with the way things work.
Because it's a racing game, you got to go fast. No?
Yeah,
No, very good stuff.
Versus Formula D. How do you feel about
I like it a lot better than Formula D.
Yeah.
I have kind of Formula D to me is okay now. I don't like it as much as I used to. It does have a special place in my heart, but it's not like I would rather play another racing game. There are a couple of racing games that I haven't yet played. I really want to play like Heat Pedal to the Metal, so it's hard for me to say like what's the.
That's the Days of Wonder one.
Yeah,
right?
I've heard nothing but good things about it. It's just
I would love to try Flamme Rouge.
Yeah,
the bicycle racing game because
I've heard good things about that.
I like in there that it's kind of deck building, except if you're in the lead, whoever has the lead bike, they have to take the slowest. Like they have to put one of the slowest cards in the game in their deck, so that you want to try keep drafting, so that you're kind of it's this kind of it's not so much a race as it is a dance, and if you can get over that part, I think you can really sink your teeth into that game. For me, Formula D is still, in my opinion, I like it. I won't even say it's better. That I think I'm mischaracterizing there. I like playing it more because I like you only have the one car and you are the dice rolling. It's one of the few roll and move games.
Same.
Because they really push the pusher luck aspect of it, and I just
it's
kind of
really
enjoy
exciting
that. Where that game can die is if somebody gets out to an early quick lead because they just had boom, boom, boom. It is so hard to come back. Like,
it is.
At that point, you're playing for second, and then you lose a little bit of luster there. I will say with Downforce, I think towards the end of the game, I think a few of us were kind of back, but it still felt close there towards the end.
Yeah. Formula D to me, like it overstays its welcome a bit, especially if you're playing like a really big game.
It's a much longer game. Yeah.
And it can get kind of tedious because if you're playing, it can play up to 10 players,
10
right?
players, yeah.
Like, and then everybody has to count out their stuff, and it can get a little tedious, and there can be a lot of wait between turns because everybody's wanting to make the perfect go. I still think it's a good game. It's just not one that I prefer to play anymore. I like Downforce a whole lot better.
Yeah, there you go. There.
Didn't they do another car game? Restoration game?
Yes. So Thunder Road Vendetta. So Thunder Road, I actually own the original Thunder Road.
Oh,
It
okay.
came out in the 80s. Had the helicopter and all the buggies and all that. And I only ever got to play it a few times because for the most part, like I only had my cousin Matt, and that's all as far as like young. And that's about when Thunder Road came out. But I always liked that game. Had I realized Restoration was doing it, I probably would have kickstarted it. I haven't at this point, and and so this is one thing, and this is not so much Restoration as it is the entirety of board games as is right now. If your board games are kickstarted, it is very hard for me to want to get it not so much aftermarket, but when it comes to the regular market.
Sure.
Because with the Kickstarter stuff, you have all the special whistles and doodads and go aheads. For a credit to them, Restoration still offers a lot of the not even Kickstarter exclusive. Just if you're doing it through the Kickstarter, you're going to get it at a little cheaper price if you kickstart the stuff. Like a game, I'll name it right now. We'll go more in depth. Return to Dark Tower. You can get everything that was in the Kickstarter. You can get it, but piecemealed out, you're spending about 10 to 25%, I believe, more unless you get that. I have an issue there. It's like, if I want to play the premium way of the game. That is very hard after the Kickstarter market because especially after there are worse companies in that regard. Simon, if I had realized how much I was going to love Rising Sun, I would have kickstarted Rising Sun. I didn't because I want an actual feudal Japan. Like I want the Sengoku Jidai. I want Oda Nobunaga, Tomotoya Hideyoshi. I want that era. Instead, I've got a kind of mythical retelling of it where we actually have like we have demons and kaiju and all this other stuff. But the game won me over, and I eventually got all of it. But I spent easily 3 times more than I would have necessarily. So that aftermarket kind of deal kind of sours me on stuff. Yeah. Restoration does put a lot of their stuff out on Kickstarter first. I don't blame them because
Right.
I think it generates a good deal of revenue. I think it generates a good deal of buzz and a very good deal of attention, both during the Kickstarter and waiting after, because you're kind of waiting for updates
yeah.
like how how's production going on, how's shipping going on. And again, I think out of all of them, I think Restoration does the best job because they still offer you the majority of the stuff that you would have gotten in Kickstarter. Like just pulling up their shop page right here. Like I still see stuff that I can just buy to upgrade the experience, and I appreciate that. The people who did Dune Imperium, I like the fact that you can still get the
Gray
upgrade
Fox
pack.
Games.
I think it's Gray Fox Games. I like that you can get the upgrade pack, which I haven't gotten it yet, but you can get the upgrade
I
pack.
haven't
if you want
either.
it. But yeah, I think weren't you looking at some Etsy?
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff for that one on
on
Etsy.
yeah.
But yeah, that's Thunder
Dune-
Road Vendetta. I have. Was it?
Oh, Dune Imperium is a dire wolf.
Dire Wolf. Thank you.
I knew it was a wolf thing.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten a chance to play this one, and I really want to because it seems like a very chaotic, fun game. As long as you go into it understanding that like it's chaotic and everything is on dice rolls, and you're okay with that.
I've gotten to play it twice.
Oh, okay.
One time I got to play it with Greg. That was fun. It is fun playing games with Greg sometimes. It
Yeah.
was a trip for sure.
Well, I think that's like his style of game.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like trying to like wade through all that chaos. And I think was Aaron Bernard also playing it with you?
I think he might have been.
Aaron's one of my favorite people to play games with
Right.
because he embraces it. Like if it's a serious game, he'll embrace the seriousness and the logic of it. But if it's just like craziness, he'll absolutely go into that too. Like that game, yeah. If you have to be willing to deal with randomness in that game,
Yeah.
which honestly, going back to the '80s, like I can't think of a quote unquote popular game that was put out by Parker Brothers, Milton Bradley, or any of the big ones that didn't have some sort of dice rolling into it. So there's always this randomization.
Yeah,
right.
Like even Sorry, which is just an extrapolation of Parcheesi, instead of dice, it's a deck of cards, and that also has randomness to it as
But
well.
the thing that really helps Thunder Road Vendetta now is that Mad Max Fury Road has come out, so you can just tell them this is Mad Max Fury Road,
Right.
So they're gonna get, oh, this is chaos. This is
Right.
absolute
Yeah.
chaos,
Right.
So I think most people, you just tell them that, and then they're like, oh, okay, I don't have to think super hard about what I'm doing in this game because it's all chaotic.
Yeah, it's also another really good push your luck racing type game, but it's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
The more we're talking about these various racing games, the more I'm itching to play one.
Oh yeah,
Just
they're
slightly.
fun. They're
Just
all
slightly.
fun.
Yeah.
So Ethan, tell us everything you know about the Omega virus.
The Omega virus, it exists. Yeah,
Actually, that in
that
itself
is-
might not
that-
be a true statement.
Yeah.
That's a tagline.
So, I apologize to my younger counterpart for dropping that on him like
Yeah.
a sack
So-
of bricks on his head.
So the whole thing with these the majority of all of Restoration games is they're remakes of all these games from the 80s, the 90s.
Games
that-
before you were
before
born.
my time.
Before you were
And so
born.
you don't have a chance to have nostalgia.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I'm
have no idea what it was like seeing a fucking commercial for the Omega
Yeah.
virus and being like, God damn it, I will never get to own this thing, and it
Also,
looks so fucking cool.
Marketing during the 80s and 90s, they knew what they were doing because they always showed kids having the funnest time. You are not going to have a funner time than if you have this.
Yeah, they were basically
Sorry is just so much fun.
they were basically pushing crack, like
They were.
when it came to like the 80s
Literally
and
the
90s.
Omega virus is like, we've got to get to the center.
I will stop you. I'm going to destroy you.
Like it's
Yeah,
just the
so
whole time.
the board game talked to you.
Oh
Yeah.
dear lord!
And that was one of the coolest things that you could ever see as a kid.
I am merely experiencing a finished project of what used to be.
yeah.
Green player, help me. Help me.
Like the game would it would play both victims
That
and
is-
yeah.
That
yeah.
is terrifying.
Yeah, they were doing that in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so we're mentioning the Omega virus. This is right now, for lack of a better term, vaporware right now, but it is supposedly the next game that Restoration Studios is working on. Restoration Games, excuse me. We haven't heard anything other than, hey, it's out there. They've also done a kind of prequel game set in the universe. I think it was called Omega Virus Prologue. Thank you. I knew it was like forward or prologue or something.
Yeah, I was looking at it.
But
a
yeah.
minute ago.
I will say something about restoration games that could be seen as a negative is that they, their output of like new games hasn't been as strong as it used to be. New games in that these are, new versions of these older games. A lot of what they have done is, here's another unmatched expansion. Here's more for Thunder Road Vendetta. Here's more for this game. Here's more for that game. They have slowed down from what they were doing. Like, it seemed like it was quite often that like something of theirs would come out, and now it feels like they have slowed, and a lot of what they're doing is, here's expansions for our other games.
Well, I think also like
but that could be more of a board game publisher thing.
It could also be
developer publisher.
If they're
thing.
trying to get this Omega Virus game like finished, that might be a big deal for them, because like, these big gimmicky games like with these high production values like are taking a lot of time for them to make. And like Fireball Island, that's a huge endeavor, even though that game might not be complicated. All those pieces and parts and art and high production values and things of that nature, and like time windows whenever they can put stuff out. I'm sure that much like in the studio days of the cinema, where they would crank out like weekly schlock to make sure that they could pad out their budget in case the big movie failed, Cleopatra. They have to probably pad out their finances with stuff like their signature series that are making the money like unmatched.
Oh yeah, I imagine it's probably more of a, this is a problem. This is an issue that like a lot of board game companies have been had.
In order for them to keep the lights on, they have to kind of do that.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I'd co-sign on that. Sadly, I would co-sign on, but that's a 100%er. So we're ready to talk about the
before we get to the big thing.
That's
just
why
a real
prompt. That's
just
why
a real
prompt.
quick shout out to another game of restoration games that I own. It's a smaller game called Dinosaur Tea Party. It's like a deduction game where you're just trying to figure out who's who at the party. It's different dinosaurs at this tea party, and you're asking them like, hey, do you have a hat on, or do you have glasses, or do you have this or that? And you have to do it very properly. And when you figure out people, you get sugar cubes, and it's however many sugar cubes. It's a nice little thing.
I like it.
And just the name Dinosaur Tea Party is funny.
That sounds fun.
That sounds
it's all
quirky
these-
as fuck. I like it.
because it's all these dinosaurs like
I do say
in,
so.
in like dresses and hats and
Are you coming to the shop tomorrow?
yeah.
Bring that.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to try that. I
Yeah.
would like to try
That
that.
does sound fun.
Yeah, it's a nice little game. I have to refresh my. It's been a very long time since I've played it.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Archibald. Are you wearing glasses?
I usually.
How could you tell?
Yeah. Oh God, we've started
Yeah.
something. I'm telling you that right now.
But it's a nice little smaller game that I think is fairly fun. Yeah.
I'm usually more towards the deep end social deduction games, but I would like to try that.
Sounds lighthearted.
yeah, it's kind of like a little bit more involved. Guess who? Kind of is the way it works.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that description.
So now it's time to talk about the big obsidian obelisk in the room. Unless speak now or forever hold your peace. If
I
not,
think that's all of the fucking games that before, like that's all the games that we have played. Like I don't think there's another game that they
big,
make that we have actually
gimmicky.
played.
It's not often that you have a game that is introduced to you through Orson Welles. I was 9 years old when this original game came out, and Orson Welles was how I viewed it for the longest time, because I didn't get to play Dark Tower in 1981 for multiple reasons. One, that game was probably close to effectively $100, somewhere between $50 and $100. I don't know. I would have to like look up an old Sears which
It was
list.
probably closer to $100, and that's
catalog.
back in the day money.
I would push it to like maybe 60. And for a board game, like again,
Yeah.
you think about it's always been Clue, Monopoly, Sorry and
Right.
one other.
It was
board
also
game.
that company that made like Don't Break the Ice and Ants in My Pants.
That is true, yeah.
There was things like that.
I
and
need.
Cooties.
They were like $10.
yeah.
You can.
Cooties. My mom was like, we can't get cooties. That's too much bullshit that you're gonna lose, and I'm not
there you
picking
go.
that up.
You can buy Dark Tower from Walmart for $650.
That's funny story.
Wait,
That's
wait.
not actually
Dark
Walmart.
Tower or Return to
Dark
Dark
Tower.
That's not actual Walmart, by the way. The website's not actual Walmart.
That's a third party.
Yeah.
that's a third party,
Yeah.
So here's Walmart and Amazon allow third party sellers.
Yeah.
I
So-
don't know. I'm looking at the Walmart app and it's saying I can buy
Yeah,
it. I'm
it's
believing
not
it.
through Walmart.
You
It's
buy
through
that.
Walmart. It's
Well,
You
just
buy
not
that
from
and you
Walmart.
schedule it for pickup at the Ocean Springs Walmart. You do that.
Yeah.
Well-
I will film it.
Talking about the original game for just a minute.
That is the hardest no I have ever had thrown at me ever. It's like, do not
You
do
don't
that.
want Ethan to spend $600
It could
on Dark Tower.
I mean, what else would you spend money on right now in the
Yeah.
next 2
You
weeks?
don't have
You act
anything
like you have
going
a wedding
on.
planned or
It
something.
could arrive as early
It's
as
not
the
like you're going to
13th.
Universal at the end of the month.
That's before the wedding.
Shit, we shouldn't. Well, no, you already mentioned it last week. I was like, oh my god, I doxed where they're going.
Oh shit!
The fans of the fan of the show could hunt him down.
What?
That one guy from Poland can make a special trip to Florida.
Dude, we got so many people from South Holland. The Netherlands is just rocking the bus.
I think the problem with the original game, besides the fact that it was finicky as fuck, from what I remember from hearing from other people,
Yeah.
is that it came out in 1981. People that didn't grow up during that time period don't understand that, like, who is this game for? Because it's aimed at kids.
Yeah.
Not many kids had this.
Yeah.
And very few adults played it at the time because people didn't play premium board games during this time period. If they did, they played Axis and Allies, or some other game by fucking Avalon Hill.
Adults played Scattergory, Pictionary, Trivial Pursuit, things like that. And I know because this is what my parents and my aunts and my uncles all played.
Also, this game has skeletons and demons and all kinds of dark shit, and it's at the beginning of the Satanic Panic. I know, I was there. If you lived anywhere near a Christian household, 3 blocks down, you weren't touching this game.
Yeah.
But thankfully,
Restoration Games presents us Return to Dark Tower. What a production.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah.
Just in the base box. And this is going to sound like a weird opening, but I judge a lot of board games by how good the board is.
Yeah.
That is high quality, perfect cardboard, perfect stock. And I think there's not a resin, but there's a coating on that. Like if you get a spill, if you get that up quick, you will never know it fucking got on there. So like I want to, but
Right.
the main draw and attraction is that tower.
Yes.
And the old one was like push buttons and it's okay, and it would talk to you and have digital sounds. But
It was made by Milton Bradley.
Yeah.
They made Merlin, and it had that kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
It's just very,
Very
cheap
true.
plastic with like little lighted up LED lights behind like a see-through picture frame of what was happening.
Yeah, but the
Good
new Dark
lord,
Tower.
this thing looks amazing.
The-
It looks
the-
just
the
absolutely
new one?
fantastic. No, Return to Dark
Yeah.
Tower.
Haven't you
You
not
haven't
played
seen
that?
it?
Yes, I'm saying
We've played before,
I'm
right?
saying
Oh.
as a general statement, it looks amazing.
Oh, okay. You were confusing us because you were looking at your phone and it looked like you had just looked at the picture
For the
of it.
first, no, you had like
the
the
first-
wonderment of someone seeing
Now
like
look up the old one.
Yeah.
I saw the old one.
Yeah, you look like he just saw it because
It's a
he was
squared
going
off
to buy it
cylinder.
for
It's
$600.
great.
I saw it.
Yeah,
But as a general statement of Return to
It's
Dark
just
Tower,
you made it sound like this was the first time you had seen a picture of
Yeah.
the tower.
the
and
tower is amazing.
It is
amazing
amazing
looking.
I will say it gets in the way when your
my
character is
favorite
on
part
the
of the
other side
Yeah.
and you have to and you don't know what the fuck's going on over there.
Yeah.
It gets in the way, but it is a very cool piece.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's like,
I-
wait, where's the sanctuary over there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's loaded down with skulls. Let me talk about skulls.
Hell yeah.
So instead of like dice to like determine shit, they've got a whole bunch of other things as far as you have like what you choose to do. Like you have your choices and then the game will spit back choices. But how do you do that? When your turn ends, you take one of these little skulls and they're so cute. They're great. And they all have like these little RFID chips in there. and so that you hover over and you drop it into the tower, and that triggers the end of the turn and triggers a whole bunch of events to happen. But in addition, that skull will either get trapped in the tower. Or will be spit out by the tower into someone's land and will spread
Into
corruption.
one of 4 spaces,
One of
four areas.
One of 4 nations.
Yeah.
The Earth Nation, the Wind, the Water, and the one that causes all the shit all the time in that one
thought it was
document.
the Northeast.
In that one,
West.
it's that one from that documentary Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Gotcha.
Fern Gully.
Fern Gully, thank you. The Fern
there
Gully
you go.
Nation.
Yeah.
When the Fern Gully Nation attacked.
Yeah.
And that bulldozer.
I will. So, and we're also we've skipped over a part of it. It's an app driven game, and I think of the app driven games that I have played, this is the best one.
oh
Yeah.
Like
100%.
the app integration of this is so good. It actually adds to the theme of it, and it works so well. Like just the sound effects, and they're kind of cheesy sound effects, but it works. And just whenever you do anything, like you fight something and then you have to pick the cards and everything, like everything fits so well with it. Like to me, like I said, this is the best of any game that I've played with app integration, where you have to play it with app integration. This is the best one that I've played so
when
far.
Because
the
on the-
monsters come out and they
Yeah.
have their own unique roars to
Yeah.
them. Oh, it's great.
Because on the OG, you had to actually like push buttons on the tower to go through the dungeon.
yeah.
Because you get to learn, like, okay, this is the sound that this monster makes, and when you hear
Right.
that sound, you're like, oh fuck, they're getting harder. Shit.
What's great about that is someone has control of the app, but when you hear that sound, it's like, oh hell,
Yeah.
like how many more spine beasts?
And
How
it-
many more Orex? OREKS.
And
Yeah.
it's also
and it works, and it runs a lot of the. You don't have to keep track of anything because the app, does
Like
it.
the micromanagement of the
Yeah,
entire.
there's
What's
no
also
micromanagement, really.
cool about it to me is that they took something that was like the original. I will say, like they both look visually stunning. The original in a retro way, and the new one in its own way as well. The new tower is completely opposite of the original digital tower because it's almost all mechanical with its with its electronical parts in there or whatever. Because sometimes when you drop the skull in, when he's talking about like a skull dropping in or multiple skulls dropping in on another area, the tower turns mechanically. You hear the motors spinning, and then a little side of the flag of one of the sides like lights up, and that's the side that you have to lift up physically, and then maybe or maybe not something will happen there.
Yeah.
Maybe nothing happens. Maybe skulls spill out
Yeah.
on your nation.
Maybe it costs you more to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're like, oh, the tower's activating, shit, and it moves around, and then it spits 4 skulls in your area,
and
you're
you're
like,
just hoping
damn.
that you don't get the skulls, or else, oh shit, there goes my monastery.
I think
Or-
it might be all 4 of us. I think we had that game where we dropped a skull and it said the tower is about. What I also love about that, the tower is about to move. Keep your fingers away from it. Like
Yeah.
it's like don't break your fingers on this thing. And then it spun like we'd cleaned out all the skulls. There was no
Yes.
corruption in any of the
Yes.
nations. That shit spit out like 10 of those motherfuckers everywhere.
And
Yeah.
the thing about Dark Towers is just like Fireball Island, wherever the skulls land after they bounce everywhere, that's where they're at.
Yeah, it's really cool because there are different main bad guys that you can fight, and you do some of the similar things, but like a lot of little things change in the game. Like I think mostly I fought against the fire beast thing,
Ash Strider, yeah.
but I watched some other friends of ours play the game, and they had like this emperor guy who would like put out money, or it was something having to do with money.
Well, yeah,
that
what
he
I
would do.
because you think about, okay, so we got to have a whole bunch of like fighting strength and do something like that. No, he's like, hey, I got a deal for you, and like, okay, what is this deal? It's like, I'll give you this, but something bad may happen down the line. And that's one of the reasons why I really love the app integration is because. You could do that with a deck of event cards, and like take one of my events and put it like in the deck, like third down. You know where it is eventually
Yeah.
is going to come out. With
Yeah.
the app integration, it's like it's going to happen further down the line. Well, when?
Right.
Well, it could be literally like the next event that it happens, or it could go all the way to like the next month, or like
Or you just
game
never
rounds
see
or
it.
game rounds or months. No, if you don't see it, it's because you beat him. But like eventually, that bomb is going to blow up, and you
Yeah.
have no idea when or where.
Another thing I like
that
about
ticking time bomb
the
is so cool.
app integration is when you have to go into a dungeon or some sort of quest in something like that space, and you don't know how long it's going to last.
Yeah.
There's no way for you to know.
Yeah.
There you go. Very nice.
Yeah. It's
So,
just
yeah.
really.
It's in my. It's. I think Return to Dark Tower is like in my top 10
Yeah.
games. Like period.
I wish it was possible to get more people to that. I think having it just be 4 players is a little limiting, but I don't know if I would want to bring up how many more, like maybe just one more.
Yeah.
Because I would hate to be that one friend that kind of maybe is off, because it is a turns based game. Like
Right.
everybody gets a turn and then the month ends and we go on to the next. I think no. That's not even the case.
Yeah.
The month can end randomly. At the very
Right.
least, you're going to get 1 turn per every player that's playing.
Yeah.
But you might not. But it might go on a little further. It might stop you a little short. Like, well, by saying stop you a little short, like you get 4, and you like last month we had 6 turns. This month we had 7 turns. You only get 4 turns this month. Sorry, like it's just the
Right.
way it was.
Yeah.
Also, like you talked about the board from the base game. You kickstarted. You had the extra stuff.
Yeah.
And that you have the neoprene.
That neoprene mat is exquisite, gorgeous, easily read. That is a big one for me also,
Because usually there's blurring on those things.
it can get like Simon. I've not had one that has blurred, because if I had to think about it, Simon and Restoration games are the 2 games where I've got neoprenes. I can't think of anything bad from those 2, but I could see where you could have some issues with some blurring on some of the neoprene. But that thing is, again, so easily read, and I think it's because the colors they picked are stark. Like the forests are green and dark, and then the lettering is bright gold. So there's no way you're going to miss what that's saying there.
Right.
Fantastic. It has 2 expansions. One expansion was not first release, but first, which was the guilds expansion, which added 2 more players that you could be. It also added guilds, which added another thing that you can focus on, kind of like that can either help or hurt you depending on how much focus you put on it. The Covenant expansion, which was the second expansion, I really think they absolutely knocked that out of the park. With the exception of the Exodus expansion for Battlestar Galactica, I would say that expansion is my second favorite of all time, and I would almost say necessary. Once you've played the base game enough, you can kind of grok the system, even with different big bad guys. You add those stuffs in there with corruption taking over the land where you can't really walk anymore, and now it's and the monuments you have to build in order to get that. It's another team building thing. You can't combine the guilds and the Covenant because it would require you to do too much on both ends, and the app doesn't let you do that. I think both of them offer unique game playing experiences. They're not a different game. It's Return to Dark Tower. But with either of those expansions, it is a different game of Return to Dark Tower. And I think, again, it's one of those things. We talked about variety. We talked about theming. I think it really coalesces in Return to Dark Tower.
100%.
Alrighty. Well, with that, I think we are pretty much done. Any more that we would like to heap praise? Do we have any other, like maybe small criticisms or large criticisms that we have of Restoration games? I open the floor.
Now, to me, I think that they really have knocked it out of the park, and they're doing an interesting thing in that they have a mission, and that's what they're sticking to. And I think that they've knocked. There's not a game of theirs that I have played where I was disappointed in it. It could be because there's two, maybe 3 games of theirs that I think collectively like we just haven't played. Because I think they have like Stop Thief. I've never played that one.
Yeah,
I played the OG, but I don't.
I've never played Stop.
That one just didn't
original
look
or
that
new.
interesting when it came out. There's like 1 or 2 more. There's like the Omega the Omega Virus prologue. But everyone that I've ever played, they have absolutely knocked it out of the park. Like I said, you couldn't tell me that these are old games. You couldn't tell me that. Like if you had told me like, oh, Unmatched, that's a game from like 1999. Like that's I would be like, no, no, you're wrong. There's no way. They do a really good job of like doing the updating and changing them and really like bringing out the best of each of these games.
I think another reason why when we were like you were touching upon like they weren't coming out with like the big games as often. I think a lot of that has to do with if they are focusing on Omega Virus, that's one. But another would be they're kind of like showing that they have more to put out besides just those gimmick 80s and 90s games. And 70s, which there aren't that many. And that's my point that I'm about to bring up is that there's only so many like famous or infamous games that have like the large gimmick kind of thing going for them. Like, Return of the Dark Tower, Fireball Island. There's only so many of those. There's not a lot of them because they typically didn't make a lot of money for the companies that put them out. Milton Bradley only had Dark Tower out for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Typically, outside of their mainstay board games that are cheap and easy to produce, they don't keep making those because the parts were expensive and they would break and they would lose popularity as well. And so I think that they're focusing on multiple different avenues to try and just keep their company going. And I think that if Omega Virus is the next thing they're working on, you have to think like, okay, well, what's the next big gimmick game that they could do that people remember fondly of and want to play? Because outside of the ones they have come out already in Omega Virus, I can't really think of any off the top of my head right now.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I will say something like, Downforce wasn't a game that we had thought needed. Nobody was asking for like a Downforce reimagining.
Yeah, I'm sure they could take some European game that we've never played or heard of. Or
yeah, there's probably like a lot of lesser known games out there that we're just not thinking of that they can really do. So
I was gonna ask a question, but I guess Jody kind of like semi-answered the question for me.
Okay.
But can y'all think of any type of game that y'all would like to see?
Mousetrap. Mousetrap.
Okay, Mousetrap.
They still make Mousetrap though.
No. I want a Restoration Games version of Mousetrap.
You want a good version of Mousetrap.
That's the thing.
It comes with a steel cage and an actual
Every game comes with a live mouse, and you've got to fucking make sure it doesn't get the cheese, but you can't kill it because it makes you a monster.
Yeah, that's a game that nobody actually ever plays. They just set it up and watch the little things go off. Having a version of that where you would be like, okay, I actually want to play through the actual game and do the rules and everything like that.
I want Mousetrap Legacy.
But I don't think whoever puts that out, be it Parker Brothers or Milton Bradley or who the fuck ever,
Restoration Games
is going to be giving up that license anytime soon.
I can name a couple real quick. Okay, here's some 90s gimmick games that we could hopefully get remade by Restoration Games.
Go for it. I'm not gonna know any of them.
No, you're not. Mall Madness.
Okay, yeah.
That's Don't Wake Daddy.
That sounds dirty.
Yeah.
Dream Phone.
Yep.
What about 1313 Dead End Drive?
Oh shit.
That's one.
That's a good one.
I forgot about that one. That
They're
was like
still
late
making
90s.
that, I think, though. I've seen that in Barnes and Nobles. Like,
Holy shit.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that was always one where I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on in this game, but I really want to play it because it looks fun.
Yeah, you can buy Barnes and Nobles right now.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Shark Attack.
That one I don't know.
That would if you rolled a dice as fast as you could, and then you moved that shark because there was a motorized shark. Or you moved your fish because there was a motorized shark coming to eat you.
There was also there's one that I would love for them to make actually, the Jaws board game.
That could be cool. That requires super licensing though.
It would.
Yeah, because I think Ravensburger actually put out a Jaws game a year or two ago.
What was that one that had the spinning top and the Yeti? And it was just, that would be a weird one because like you'd crank the thing up and just let it. It was basically like Beyblades, but without another Beyblade, and you would get knocked off the tower.
Yeah, there were tons of those games, especially in the 90s.
Somebody remade a Key to the Kingdom recently, right?
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone that would have been a cool one if that had already been
because
remade.
I've seen that in Barnes and Nobles.
Yeah. Okay.
Ravensburger came out with Jaws in 2019.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
What I said. Yeah.
There you go.
That's
one person
crazy.
actually plays as the shark in that.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's like two halves.
One versus all.
I would prefer that to actually be a hidden role game. It's like you don't know
Who's
which
the
one.
shark?
Who's the shark?
Oh my gosh, Beast.
Yeah,
Beast jar.
Amity
Jaws.
Island, go to sleep.
I don't know. It might be on Kickstarter right now, but there's an expansion for Beast that's either on Kickstarter.
Oh yeah,
It's
I saw that.
If I wasn't so in with Root,
I think the
would, you know,
Kickstarter might have finished.
might have finished.
But I
Okay.
remember seeing that.
Well, maybe it will come to retail.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're getting off topic.
Yeah,
Probably
yeah,
just
we
need to
are.
wrap
Yeah,
it
no.
up.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
any other games we want to have remade? I've got one. Lawn Darts.
Yeah.
Restoration Games remake.
The
Lawn Darts.
WrestleMania VCR game.
Make lawn darts metal, you cowards.
Yes. All metal.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
All metal. All pointed.
Yep.
All right. But that is our first spotlight episode in this on Restoration Games. Tell us what you thought about it in the comments or over email at
Yeah, hopefully some of these games sound
gmail.com.
interesting to you.
Yeah.
And you'll check them out.
Most
Most of them are pretty easy to get. Like you can get unmatched. You know,
Like
at
Barnes and Noble,
Barnes and Nobles.
Million,
Barnes
or-
and Nobles has a shit ton
Yeah.
of unmatched.
Amazon's also a good spot
Yeah.
for it.
I want to say Target. I saw.
I could, yeah.
Fireball Island is in Target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good one too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. So I think it's friend time. Brady, give us friend time.
Whiskey and Wrestling is a podcast by our friends that we spoke of earlier. One, Michael Hill and Jason Holder. They talk about the past week in wrestling, and then they have, usually a whiskey and give you some tasting notes of that, in as a pairing.
Canadian Hunter, triple shit.
Yeah. So check them out wherever you get the podcasts from.
There you go. Now, Brady, demand Ethan do one that makes me laugh.
Ethan, do one.
Ethan Skinner and Dick Stone Dick. I made you laugh though.
Your
no.
soon-to-be wife gave you a very disappointing stare.
Yeah.
That happens.
It's not that you're in Dick Stone Dick.
Yeah,
It's that
I-
you.
Balls deep in
It's
Yeah.
Stone
All
Dick.
the
It's
way
that-
is
it's that you-
Dick Stone Dick.
It's
Yeah.
that you are Dick Stone Dick.
yeah.
When you're that close in Dick Stone Dick, what's the difference?
And then I
mean, hey,
I
it made
do a
Jay
movie
laugh.
then I do a movie title and I put the echo on me for added humor, hopefully.
Yes, but I didn't, and it still made you laugh.
No, it didn't. It made me very like. Do you see this vein? This is the onset of a stroke.
Nah, I'm pretty sure I saw you laugh. a
Jody,
little bit.
before I have a stroke, plug Fearology. Will make us feel better.
Did you know that there was a cartoon called Potato Kids
What the
based off
fuck?
Mr. Potato Head?
Jesus
Did you know
Christ.
that they made a board game off of that in the 80s?
None of this is surprising.
Restoration Games, get the fuck on that shit.
None of this is surprising because in the 80s,
Potato Kids, the next generation.
cartoons were just commercials for toys. That's all
there
it
was a board game for Mask. It had one season.
Yeah, yeah.
They were all the same board game. They were just reskinned.
It had the sweetest van ever because it had
Yeah.
a whole fighter jet inside it.
Eventually, I might have an episode of Fearology come out in the near future. Who knows?
Yeah.
Fearology. Listen
you
to
go.
it.
Absolutely.
Shrug. You didn't see that, but he shrugged after that.
It's
so,
available to you.
yeah.
It is. There's like 12 or 14 episodes. I can't
There
even
is some
remember.
number of episodes
There's
out
some
there.
number of episodes.
There's a number greater than 0 episodes.
There is.
that are out there in the wild. If you wish.
That's more than Boomer Box. All right, Jay, take it away.
There isn't even in the wild. It's in a caged preserve somewhere. There we go.
Yeah, it's in a museum. It belongs in a museum.
It's on a shelf collecting dust.
No. It's being researched by top men.
yeah.
What type? Top men.
Not bottom men.
No.
Top
Yeah, we
men.
put it
Yeah,
in the
as
warehouse
opposed to
next to
Dick
the.
Stone Dick.
We put, Jesus Christ.
Stephen Nelson II and Jarrett Taylor present to you Bearded Drums, a podcast all about drumming from gear to gigs, along with performances by Mr. Taylor recorded on YouTube. Again, available on YouTube and where all major podcasting platforms can be found.
Mr. JT has been putting together his Ogre Maw Tribe stuff.
Yes. He actually, while we were recording, sent us feedback. It was after the feedback. So
interesting.
next week we will have feedback.
Sure. Nice.
There you go. And missing anybody completed, if you would,
The
sir.
Completed Podcast, a Magic the Gathering-centered podcast hosted by Christopher Vega, Brandon Scott Tanner, and Brandon Smith. They talk about the ins and outs of competitive Magic and the current state of Magic. Check them out.
Absolutely. And again, our thanks to MacNarb Gaming in Goshen, Mississippi for providing us this wonderful studio space from which we record Travelers on the Omnibus. We thank you very much, Cameron Spanner, the God Emperor of Gaming over there. Magic Foundations, a core set, but not in name. That I actually lapsed from the product, not going back to it, but I do appreciate having a core set again. I think that's a really cool thing that they're doing now.
Fantastic.
All righty. So one more time across the room, because we haven't figured out what we're doing next week. But for Travelers on the Omnibus, my name is James McCarthy.
I'm Brady Davis.
I'm Jody Cook.
I'm Ethan Skinner.
Thank you for stopping by and enjoying the ride, guys. That's it. So to continue the bit from last week, I was looking
I
for
don't
more
remember the bit from last
for
week.
more quotes from Tiptoes.
Oh,
Oh, God.
Tiptoes.
And that was
I
the
still don't remember this.
and that's
Yeah.
where I read out. That's where I read out the Tiptoes. The
I have no
lines.
knowledge of this.
Do I have to mention the
I-
circle
I
jerk with
left.
little people again?
I left when he was
Yeah,
talking about
there we
this.
go. And but that's the only quote.
Right,
That's
right.
the only quote from
Right.
it.
Gary Oldman.